Okay, so here we are in week 2 of EDUA 588. Hope you had a great week so far. You are to read chapters 3 and 4 in your book, and chapter 3 is about some of the things that are happening in California, some of the things that we have to be worried about, like charter schools and changing populations. And then chapter 4 is a pretty interesting chapter. If you haven't had experience with your CBO, it's a really interesting job. If you're ever thinking about going in there, most of us started in education. We started as teachers, and we didn't have a background in business. The CBO is really about business, the business of school. So not much of the educational process or the hiring process, but the business of school, such as child nutrition, maintenance, facilities, purchasing, requests for proposals, all those things that are a little bit complicated or just unknown to us in the educational side of the house, but a very interesting job. So if you're interested in budgets and how those pieces come together, AXA gives a workshop on how to be a CBO. Very interesting, and it's an interesting side of the house. I started at the educational side of the house as a teacher, principal, and right now I'm working as director of ITS, which is in the business side of the house. So I've been learning a lot about the business side of education, which is pretty fascinating. Alright, so spend some time on those chapters. You also have done a really good job on the discussion boards this week. A lot of really good questions that you're asking each other, and sharing nicely on the discussion board, just kind of being honest about equity and equality and the difference between the two and what that means for kids, and how to talk to parents about that, and how to talk to teachers about that, because there are teachers that will say, well, that's not fair. When we're not talking about fairness, we're talking about equity. So you guys did a really nice job on the discussion board this week. I was happy with that. All right, you're starting to talk to your principal about budget and how the budget was done this year. And the budget is not just how we spend our money, but it's really a plan for what we want to do for the entire school year. Just like your budget at home, it's not just about spending the money you have. You're making a plan. So if you've got kids that are, I have college-age kids that are going to college, you kind of planned for that, or hopefully plan for it. If not, it's a big surprise how expensive it is. You put money aside for those things. Just like you put money aside for retirement. That's a plan that you've done with your budget, because you know one day you're going to retire. Or you plan to put money aside to buy a new car. Same thing in the school budget. You plan for things. You just don't get the money and say, I think we'll buy 2,000 new computers, because what are you going to do with those computers? So the plan that your principal should be sharing with you on the budget is, what student groups do they want to have increase, or what were they looking to do with their budget? How were they going to measure those things? What data were they using to say, if I'm going to target ELs this year, what data am I going to show on a monthly or quarterly time to show that they're increasing? And how am I going to prove that we did a good job with our ELs, or what was our goal for our ELs at the end of the school year? So not just breaking the money into pots, but how is that money going to help student achievement? Did they get feedback from the stakeholders? Did they talk to parents? Did they talk to teachers before they came up with the budget? Or, and I've got this from some of your discussion board posts, is the district office telling you this is where you're going to spend your money and that's it? Are they making the decisions for you as a site, which is interesting to me that some of you have that. Also, how are you going to support student success, and how are you going to monitor that? We don't have API scores right now because the state has suspended those for a while. How are you monitoring student success without those scores? Are you using benchmark assessments? Are you using PLC data? What data do you have to show that you're moving your kids along? And if you're buying something, like let's say you're buying smart boards for all your teachers, or they've bought, I know a lot of schools have put a lot of money into technology. What's the plan for using that technology? How is that going to improve the educational environment for children? What do you want to see from that? How are you going to train your teachers? What professional development did you give them? So when you're looking at budget with your principal, think of the whole picture, not just the pots of money that you can use, but how is that money going to be spent to better the education for kids and make sure that they're achieving well. All right, have a great week. Email me or call me if you have any questions, and I will respond to you as fast as I can. Bye, guys.